Good morning. Again, 1 Peter 3:7, likewise, husbands, live with your wives in an understanding way. Here's the second vital imperative. Number 2, showing honor to the woman as the weaker vessel, since they are heirs with you of the grace of life, so that your prayers may not be hindered. This idea of showing honor, to honor your wife. You know, husbands sometimes can speak harshly with their wives. They can be clipped and short with them, frustrated with them. I've been guilty of all those kinds of things. They can not be patient. They can be given to angst. Those ideas are antithetical to honor. So to show honor to somebody is to esteem them, to value them, that they would leave your presence feeling like they were worth something. Now here's an interesting statement. Husbands, live with your wives, understanding way, showing honor to the woman as the weaker vessel. Is that a sexist, derogatory statement here by Peter? Is that it may feel like that initially. Let me give you 3 ideas that are put together in this idea of the weaker vessel. The first is a biological one, and that is that typically the husband is typically going to be physically stronger. It's not a sexist remark. It's a biological reality. It doesn't mean every time, but it means most of the time that's the case. So you husbands move the furniture, usually, not always. Sometimes your wife does, and you're thankful. But you are often doing the heavy lifting because in that way she's the weaker vessel. Also, there's an emotional aspect of it. And it doesn't mean weaker in a bad way. Here's the illustration. It's the difference between a hammer and a teacup. One serves a very important purpose, to pound a nail in. The other serves a very important purpose, to bring tea or a beverage of your choice to your mouth. You're not going to drink out of a hammer, and you're not going to use a teacup because it'll shatter if you use it to drive in a nail. And so the point is that we're emotionally wired differently. And there does lend often more of a sensitivity to a female and to your wife. And not always, but often, a husband has to learn certain measures of sensitivity that don't come naturally and organic to him in some areas. In some areas they might, but some areas they don't. And I think there's an implication here to that end. And then finally, I think the weaker vessel also has to do with position. She's positionally vulnerable. She's called to submit to you. It puts her in a spot where, as we saw before, she could give into fear. And so we recognize the vulnerable spot of our wives. We recognize that we need to be physically available. We recognize that we need to be emotionally sensitive. And so we want to honor. If we're not emotionally sensitive and we run roughshod over them, if we use our words in harsh ways, if we were physically inappropriate or used our strength to dominate in some way, as some men have abused their wives tragically and shamefully, if we exploited their position, we tell them to submit. I've heard guys say those kinds of things. That's not good leadership. At that point, you are trying to cajole something that you're not willing to nurture. And so the encouragement today is that you would honor her as the weaker vessel. So I hope you do that. I hope you think about that. And I hope, honestly, you ladies will feel honor. May the Lord bless you today.